All right. So today's conversation touches really close to home. And I oftentimes get pretty emotional when talking about this. So I'm going to try to restrain myself here. Okay. But I'm going to warn you in advance. Uh, this is a touchy one for me. Okay. But today we're going to be talking about affirmations for kids and specifically how that relates to programming those young minds. All right. And we talk a lot about how, our minds are like supercomputers, and it's our subconscious mind is like the software program that it runs. Okay. And I mean, Aristotle famously said that, give me a child until he is 7 and I'll show you the man. And the reason is because he understood the power of those transformative years between 0 and about 7 or 8. All right. And, when we look at our stick man, um, this is typically what the mind of a young child looks like between the ages of 0 and say 7 or 8, in the sense that, like, you look and there is no logical or rational or reasoning mind. All right. And if any of you have young kids and you've ever tried to reason with a 5-year-old, like, it doesn't work. Okay. There's no real logic there. All right. Um, you can't do it. It's a losing battle. Trust me, I've tried. Okay. They don't have an analytical mind, meaning that they just take everything that you say at face value. And so kids, when they're really young, they don't understand jokes and they don't understand sarcasm. They just believe everything. Okay. And that's partly why, you know, we have things like the Easter Bunny. My kids are in the other room, and Santa Claus. Okay. And, my youngest, well, actually, both my kids, I mean, they wore their Iron Man costume and their Spider Man costume everywhere. Okay. For days. Like, we had to, try to trick them just to get changed out of it so we could wash it and they could take a bath. But, like, they wore their Iron Man costume to the grocery store. My youngest even wore a Spider-Man costume to school, and, like, they walked around thinking and believing that they were superheroes. Okay. And part of the reason why is because, I mentioned before that your subconscious mind will believe anything and everything that you tell it. And young kids, they're walking around with their subconscious mind just wide open. All right. And what happens is anything that is said around them uh, ends up landing in their subconscious mind and becoming a part of their subconscious programming. Okay. Interestingly enough, in the last video or one of the earlier videos, I shared with you some of these brainwave frequency charts. Okay. And during these formative years of about 0 and 7, kids, okay, are right here in this theta zone where they're actually in like a meditative state. Okay. And if you've ever been to a hypnotist or you've seen somebody that's, been hypnotized, they're in that same brainwave activity level, and you'll know that they're very susceptible to suggestion, meaning that you can tell somebody that, they're a dog, and they'll get down on all fours and they'll bark and behave like a dog. All right. And kids are very, very much in that same hypnotic or meditative state. And they're very impressionable and they're highly susceptible to suggestion. Okay. That's why it's incredibly important that we're mindful and careful about what they're exposed to during those early years. And the reason is because anything that they observe or experience, anything from their environment, ends up going into their subconscious and becomes a part of their subconscious programming and a part of their conditioning. Okay. And so everything from, things that we say, things that we do, they're just like little sponges. and kids just absorb everything from around their environment, right? Whether we want them to or not, it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess. But as a parent, it just has become increasingly clear that I need to be very careful about the behavior that I'm modeling, for sure, but also the things that I have to say about things like food, okay, our physical bodies and fitness, right? Things like, well, sex, even too, okay? But drugs and alcohol, money is a big one. But relationships and marriage and all of those sorts of things, because everything that they observe and everything that they hear and everything that they experience, what it does is it shapes their paradigm and their beliefs and perceptions on a subconscious level. And it shapes their understanding of what and expectations of what that's supposed to be, or what that's supposed to look like, or how they're supposed to go about doing that. And so that as if being a parent wasn't enough responsibility already, you know, that's a lot of pressure to put on a person. You know what I mean? But the truth is that our kids, when they're young like that, are incredibly impressionable, and they're just like giant sponges where they just soak up everything. But when I really started to get into this mindset work and understand the power and the importance of affirmations, I saw this as an incredible opportunity to plant seeds of what I want to see into the minds of my young boys. And the truth is that the way that we talk to our children will later become their inner voice. And it shapes the language that they use when they think about themselves and talk about themselves. Okay. And for the last number of years now, one of the practices or principles that I've employed is the habit of doing nightly affirmations. And I've actually gotten into the habit of doing it to the point now that my boys won't let me get away with not doing it. And, sometimes it's late and I'm tired and I just want to get to bed myself, but they'll say, "Dad, can we copy you? Can we copy you?" And so I'll come back into their room, and we have a nightly affirmation. And our nightly affirmation goes like this. It's the same statement every night, okay? But I say this and I have them repeat it back to me. And I say, "I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm brave, I'm kind, I'm capable, I'm confident, I'm happy, I'm handsome, I'm loved, and if I try hard and I never give up, I can do anything I put my mind to." And we've been doing that pretty much every night for the last number of years now. And I saw something that was really cool. when we first moved here, it was shortly after COVID, and my oldest was just starting in grade one, and our very first day of school, mom and dad walked him down to the school, and I think those days are always harder on parents than they are on the kids. But I saw something that was really cool. Oh, as we were approaching the school, I could hear my son repeating to himself that I'm smart, I'm strong, and I'm brave. And I just had to pause and appreciate the effort that we put into doing that and continue to do, because that's the kind of thing that I see as setting them up for having an inner dialogue and a sense of self that will be a benefit to them in the future and as they grow up and become men of their own with families of their own and influencing their own communities in their own life. So if you have young kids, regardless of the age, I'd suggest creating and repeating a similar affirmation, something of the sorts. And it's a great little habit and something that you think about the downstream effects. Uh, it's impossible to imagine. So I warned you, but yeah, thanks for bearing with me on that one.